Vintage TV Network presents Who Was Marlon Brando? He changed the rules, he broke the mold, and he refused to play by anyone's script, not Hollywood's, not the media's, not even his own. Marlon Brando wasn't just an actor, he was a revolution in motion. But behind the genius and the glare, who was Marlon Brando, really? Born April 3, 1924, in Omaha, Nebraska, Marlon Brando Jr. was the son of a traveling pesticide salesman and an emotionally distant alcoholic mother, who, despite her struggles, introduced young Marlon to the stage. She once acted in community theater and encouraged Marlon's creative side, but home life was chaotic. Marlon's father was critical, cold, and dismissive. Their relationship would remain strained for decades. Expelled from military school for rebellious behavior, Brando drifted, until he landed in New York City in the 1940s and discovered the one thing that would anchor him: acting. Brando enrolled at the famed Actors Studio under Lee Strasberg and Stella Adler, pioneers of what became known as method acting. He absorbed the teachings like a sponge: emotional truth, psychological realism, vulnerability as strength. In 1947, he exploded onto Broadway as Stanley Kowalski in Tennessee Williams' A Streetcar Named Desire. Audiences had never seen anything like it. He was primal, raw, magnetic, a dangerous kind of beautiful. When the play became a film in 1951, Brando carried Stanley to the big screen. He didn't act the role, he became it. This wasn't the polished theatrical style of old Hollywood. This was electricity, and suddenly, acting and actors were never the same. Brando's star rose meteorically in the 1950s. With roles in Viva Zapata, Julius Caesar, and On the Waterfront, he won praise from critics and audiences alike. His performance as Terry Malloy, the washed-up boxer who could have been a contender, won him an Oscar and cemented his legend. But fame didn't suit him. Brando bristled at celebrity, he clashed with directors, he turned down roles, he refused to play the Hollywood game. He didn't want to be a movie star, he wanted to be left alone. He formed his own production company, an unheard-of move at the time, and made films on his terms. Sometimes brilliant, like One-Eyed Jacks, and sometimes disastrous, like Mutiny on the Bounty. By the late 1960s, Brando was seen as washed up, difficult, unhireable. But in 1972, he stunned the world once again, this time as Don Vito Corleone in Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather. It was a comeback for the ages. Brando transformed into the aging mafia patriarch with cotton in his cheeks, a whisper of a voice, and a quiet, commanding sorrow. The film became a phenomenon. Brando won his second Oscar, but in classic Brando fashion, he refused it. Instead, he sent Native American activist Sachin Littlefeather to decline the award on his behalf, protesting Hollywood's portrayal of indigenous people. It was a seismic moment on live television, one of the most controversial in Oscar history. In the years that followed, Brando's choices became increasingly erratic. He delivered one of his most haunting performances in Last Tango in Paris, but the film was marred by controversy, some of it deeply disturbing. He gained weight, he exiled himself on his private island in Tahiti. He fathered 11 children, many of whom struggled with tragedy and public scandal. His son Christian was convicted of manslaughter. His daughter Cheyenne died by suicide. Brando was devastated. In interviews, he described his life as a failure. Beyond the screen, Brando was an unapologetic activist. He marched with Martin Luther King Jr. He stood up for civil rights. He lent his voice and his money to causes most stars wouldn't touch. He used his platform not for promotion but protest. And yet, he often sabotaged himself. He was brilliant and self-destructive, principled and mercurial, charismatic and maddening. Marlon Brando died in 2004 at the age of 80. Obese, reclusive, and burdened by family trauma, he left behind a complicated legacy. but one that forever changed the craft of acting. He didn't want to be a legend, but he became one anyway. His fingerprints are on every performance that dares to be messy, honest, and real. From De Niro to Pacino, from DiCaprio to Phoenix, they all walk a path Brando paved. So, who was Marlon Brando? A rebel, a genius, a contradiction. The face of a revolution and the soul of an artist who never truly felt at home in the world he changed. Thanks for joining us on this Vintage TV Network deep dive. For more legends, icons, and behind-the-scenes stories from television and film history, subscribe and stay tuned. Vintage TV Network, the classics never fade.